So welcome, 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 our brilliant colleague, Mathieu. I so appreciate your consistent leadership and solidarity. And as always at Setsi, we begin all conversations by giving thanks to the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We give thanks to all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We give thanks to all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So Mathieu, can you please share a little bit about your remarkable work with our listeners and viewers?
Hello, everybody. So my name is Mathieu Rouleau. I am the Executive Director of Agriculture in the Classroom Canada. We're an organization that brings agriculture and food into the classroom across all provinces in Canada. And so our important work has created over 2.3 million student experiences over the past year, and we continue to build that. And it is important work from kindergarten to grade 12. Well, of course, we talk about different aspects of agriculture when they're younger to be able to have those links, but then we'll talk about careers and explore careers and career pathways when we go into high school and later years to provide opportunities for all Canadians to be able to have their place in agriculture and food.
Absolutely incredible. I remember when I first came across the remarkable work of your organization, Agriculture in the Classroom, I thought of my wife immediately. My wife's been doing agricultural development work with my two daughters and our sons for years, and even building curriculum and classes for young people in the community. So I thought, wow, what an incredible model. So it's a perfect time to kind of segue to my next question. What's inspiring you right now? What has you curious, or what's keeping you up at nights?
So I was thinking about this because I was like, what inspires me? What gets me up every day? And I would say it's so important to be able to leave something, leave our country in a better place. And so when I get up every morning, I'm thinking about the experience I had as a child growing up on a dairy calf crop maple syrup farm. I had a garden. I walked a calf. My parents were very involved in helping me grow up and become who I am. And I really wanted to give that type of an opportunity to my nieces, my nephews, and my future children to be able to have that aspect when we build into it. I think that we need to be connecting with our food, with the land, and everything around it. There's positive impacts around your health. There is positive impacts to knowing where your food comes from. And I think that it's just that's what gets me up every day. And being able to eat something that you know that has been produced. I have strawberries in my garden. And so when that first strawberry hits my mouth in June, I am super satisfied, but I want that satisfaction to be transmitted to the kids that are in schools today looking for their place in our Canadian society to be able to build that out.
That's incredible. Well, congrats. And thank you so much for sharing that journey in terms of being able to grow up on a farm, out in the outdoors, and having a real childhood experience that didn't involve a screen or iPhone or iPad. To me, that sounds like bliss. And that's, I think, what a lot of parents are seeking for their children. But more importantly, finding ways and means to get all our children back to understanding the key fundamentals of growing your own food, of soil science, of agriculture, of agroecology. So once again, I just really appreciate the remarkable leadership of you and your colleagues. So my next question is, what are some of the challenges and barriers you and your colleagues are facing? And what are some of the approaches you're taking to overcome some of these challenges and barriers?
So across Canada, our economy and agriculture is very different. Right now, when we look at agriculture, it is making the news. The farmers' margins are very low. There is climate change creating drought in certain areas across Canada, and there's areas that are getting too much rain. And so we need to be able to have students and a community that is supportive of that agriculture so that we can continue to have food that is grown locally. Canada has a really big potential as we start and continue to grow in the world because the population is growing and there's not more land. We have a lot of water, and so we need to be able to manage it and help grow and feed the world because I believe that Canada's role is not only to feed ourselves, but to feed the world and being a leader in the next generation of farmers and having a ag literate society. And when I say an ag literate society, I'm not saying that everybody should be working in ag. I'm actually saying that everybody should know that a carrot comes from the ground, that there's dirt around it, and that to be able to produce milk from a dairy cow. The cow has four stomachs, it eats, it ruminates, and then it has a baby to be able to produce that milk. And so there's a lot of basic scientific components that our food and agriculture has that are all tied into what we need to build our community and our society. And so one of the things that I think is really important is getting more people involved. One of our biggest barriers right now is is funding. We don't have enough money and volunteers and staff to be able to go into all the classrooms requested. And so we're having to modify our programming to ensure that we're able to create even a higher accessibility than what we have. And so over the years, we've developed programming that is virtual, that is accessible all across Canada, because we can't necessarily get into remote regions, into the territories all the time, or in northern areas of different parts of the provinces. And so we've created a virtual learning experience that is interactive. We've created resources that teachers can use to be able to explain and talk about different aspects of agriculture. And so we have over 900 bilingual English and French resources on our resource library that are free for teachers. And they have all the curriculum links per province that they're able to use and do links. So when you think about it, you could teach a child science around water and ice and explain that. You can also take cream and butter with the kid in the classroom, the student, and really get a little bit more of an experience. And you're able to help that student understand and probably have a long-lasting memory around food and agriculture. And so they've made their own butter, they're 6 years old. Well, they'll probably remember that experience. And so growing tomatoes in the classroom through the school year is one of our programs as well, to be able to have a connection to food even in the winter, because in Canada, the school year is almost all winter or there's not the growing season because there's still frost. And so really trying to pull that out and connect those students, and then talking about the science behind that, because you don't have to be a farmer that is collecting tomatoes. You actually need somebody that is the geneticist behind making a more disease resistant, drought resistant tomato. And so we need those research scientists. And so building in careers slowly across the different grade levels, all the way up to the point that in the high school level, they'll be like, hey, I want a career in agriculture, because I've explored over 100 of them through our programming, the agricultural programming, and there's something that fits for me, because you can be an electrical agricultural engineer, you can be an agricultural accountant, and there's so many walks of life that you can have, and we're creating an inclusive space for people to learn about agriculture.
Incredible. Thank you so much for all that context. Truly remarkable work being done on the ground. So my next question is, do you have a set of key priorities right now in your work you'd like to share with our listeners and our viewers?
Yeah, so we have a few priorities, and when we're talking to anybody that's wanting to get involved, go to our website, register to be a volunteer. It is one of the most rewarding experiences to talk about food. We give training across the country, depending on the different months. We just had our Canadian Ag Literacy Month that was in March, and it was a huge success across the country. And we didn't have enough volunteers, but every volunteer gets some training to be able to do these resources in the classrooms and activities. And if you are inclined to donate, get involved and invest into the next generation of students and thinkers and leaders, so that we can have a future that is inclusive of all, and become curious. If you don't know who we are, if you want to learn more, follow us on social media, go check out our resources. They are free for everybody. So our target audience is students, and so teachers by default, but there are parents that are wanting to learn more about carrots, tomatoes, dairy, beef, chicken production across Canada. Well, we have those resources, and we've built out some really, we call them snap ag. So they're quick snapshots of different issues or topics around agriculture. We have 100 of them, and they're very current. So feel free to check those out as well.
Thank you so much So my second last question, in terms of your ultimate goal, what does success look like and feel like to you and your colleagues?
So I think that one of the things that we are hoping to achieve is an ag literate society. And also we have to take a step back and look at the statistics. In Canada, 56% of Canadians cannot identify a career outside of the male farmer. So we need to shift those perspectives. And how do we do that? Well, that's bringing in agriculture at a much younger age. So from kindergarten all the way to grade 12, they need to have an agricultural experience, a student experience yearly. And to do so, we are moving that needle and we're hoping to be able to bring in and answer the labor shortage that is going to be crucial in 2030 with over 123,000 jobs vacant. And so we're hoping to fill that. And when we think about it, it's not that far away because kids in grade 6 right now are actually the ones that are going to be filling those jobs. And so that's only 6 years away. Those people are going to be on the market. So we still have time to show them the opportunities they have in having a successful career in agriculture. And so our priorities are being able to shift that, getting into classrooms. We have over 6 million students in all across Canada. We need to move that needle, and I think we're doing great work.
That is incredible. Thank you so much. Perfect segue to my final question. Do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action for our listeners and our viewers? I'm pretty sure those calls to action are going to be around agricultural literacy for sure. But I'd love to hear from you how we can amplify this message and just what you'd like to share.
I think that everybody has a responsibility in educating the next generation. There's a proverb that says that we need a village to raise a child, but to raise a child to be ag literate means that we need to all be involved into giving those experiences equally to people, including our neighbors. If we have a gardening project or I have sometimes basil on my balcony that's not in my garden, but just to be able to have that fresh basil in my smoothies with my strawberries, the perfect mix. And so being able to include kids and into that journey into building an ag literate society starts by being involved, volunteering, building that community, and taking that time. And although I don't like weeding in a garden, I think that it is a very zen place, and being part of nature is one of the ways that we're going to be able to help the mental health of our next generation and even our whole society. And I think that agriculture needs to be part of everybody's lives in different ways, through food, through production, or through transformation of our produce. And so become curious, get involved, and donate.
Indeed, you heard it here first. The new AI is agricultural innovation, not artificial intelligence. We got to figure out a way to get the young people off the screens and no visors on their face and go out and actually grow some food. I so appreciate your incredible leadership and all that you're doing for so many. And as always, at Setsi, we close these conversations, these interviews the way we began, by giving thanks to the original stewards of the various lands around. We give thanks to all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We give thanks to all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much, Mathieu. I so appreciate you.
Thank you very much.